Every 8 minutes, India loses a woman to cervical cancer, a disease that is preventable and treatable. CAPET, Cancer Awareness, Prevention and Early Detection Trust, has been on a mission to change that narrative. At the heart of this movement is Mridu Gupta, CEO of CAPET. In the episode of Breaking the Silence, we sit down with Mridu to talk about what every woman in India should know about cervical cancer. How CAPET began its journey when few dared to speak about it, and how communities are slowly opening up the conversation that can save lives. So welcome Mridu. Cervical cancer is still surrounded by silence and stigma. What should every woman in India definitely know about cervical cancer screening and the HPV vaccine?
For one thing, every woman in India should know about cervical cancer. That is the largest gap, that not everybody knows enough. And when you don't know enough, of course there is fear, there is stigma, because you know it in bits and pieces, you know only the misinformation that somebody has told you. It's all hearsay. So the right kind of information, the right messaging is definitely what we have to bring in. And what every woman needs to know is that cervical cancer is a 100% preventable disease. No woman ever has to die of cervical cancer, and yet in India we lose one woman every 8 minutes. So this interview that you are having will last for a couple of minutes, and in that much time you would have lost somebody somewhere in the country, and that's a huge waste of life. We don't value that life for whatever reasons. So what every woman needs to do is be aware for herself that she needs to be screened. All girls can be vaccinated. You don't have to ever get cervical cancer. There is no stigma and there is no fear in something like that. So we need to talk about it, and you need to act for cervical cancer elimination.
Thank you so much. What first inspired you to take up this cause, and especially at a time when hardly anyone was talking about it? Basically early days of CAPET.
So this is something I have to admit, that when I lost my mother in 2013 and I was looking at doing something in cancer, I was already 45 years old and I had never heard of cervical cancer. So when we met up and we started CAPET and we said that we were going to work for the cause of cancer, the suggestion we got was to work for cervical cancer because it's preventable and India has a very large burden of cervical cancer deaths. That's when I started reading up about it. Until the age of 45, I had never heard of cervical cancer. And I can just imagine that, I would say that I was educated, I lived in metro cities, I moved around I had a social circle, but I had never heard of it. I could just imagine what it must be in areas where women did not have that kind of exposure. So that became immediately the cause that we were going to work for. Though I lost my mother to lung cancer, and everybody says, why didn't you work for that cancer? But no, we realized that cervical cancer was something we could do something about. There's no such thing as low-hanging fruit, but yes, cervical cancer is something that we can eliminate. There is a methodology to eliminating it. And in 2014, we decided that we were going to work for cervical cancer. Nobody was talking about it, but there was just no thinking about it. The minute we heard about it and we realized the burden and the fact that none of us knew about it was cause enough to prevent other women from going through that journey.
Thank you. Wow, that was really inspiring. How was the acceptance? So we would like to know, how was the acceptance of your initiative in the community? How did you and your team start those difficult conversations in communities and get women to actually come forward for screening?
Now this is something I want to say for everybody who's working in the community. When we started, we were told that don't talk about cancer. Cancer is fear. Nobody will come for your screenings. But I have to tell you that if you go into the community and say, I am here to prevent cancer, everybody will come. If you tell them cancer can be prevented, it can be treated, women will come. The messaging has to be correct, and we have to break the mindset people already have that cancer is not treatable. Even out of curiosity, they come the first time to know, what do you mean by cancer can be prevented? So we say कि हम cancer के रोकथाम के लिए आए हैं. That is, we don't hide from the word cancer, we don't hide from telling them what we are doing there, right? We were warned against it in fact. But having said that, rural India is patriarchal and we recognize that. So if we want to work for women, we work through the village governance structure. So we do meet with the Pradhan, we meet with the Panchayat, we talk to the men, we bring them into the conversation, we work with the Asha workers, we train them first. We go with this trusted group into the village, we spend a day creating awareness, door-to-door awareness camps, and then we bring screening into it. So it's not like we just go and say we are having a health camp, come and be screened. Nobody will come. That is when the fear of cancer will come into it, that I don't want to go. But if you've created enough awareness, there's compassion, people understand what you are here to do. We screen about 100, 120 women in one day in one camp. And that's because we take the time to work with the community and help them understand what it is we are doing. So there's no rocket science, it's very simple. You have to have empathy, you have to have connection, you have to build trust. Without that, nobody is getting screened, not in urban India, not in rural India. I wouldn't go to be screened if I didn't trust the doctor. So it's the same thing for all women everywhere.
Wow, that's truly inspiring. Could you share a story from the field that's really going to inspire our audiences? Anything, like any story, any interesting story?
This is something that I think my head of operations, Ravi, and I, we talk about many times. So sometime 2019, I think we were working in Bisrak, Noida, and there was a woman about 57, 58 years old. She was detected with early signs. She had lesions, so they were pretty sure that she needs to go in and be treated. And her family decided that it wasn't worth it. So they said that, it's cancer, she's going to die anyway, let's send her to the village. And, they will take care of her and she'll die in the village. And she actually pleaded with us. She said, no, I want to live. If you take me to the hospital, I will work. I will do this. And, for me, she was a few years older than me. It's like saying that my life now has no value because that's the age. But see, for them, a very, very poor family, they needed one person to go with her for her treatment. That's two people. You can understand what their barriers and their restrictions were, but that was the most difficult story. It's not a success story. We've had a lot of success stories where we found women early and we've gotten them treated. We have women who were found with breast cancer and she's completely free of cancer now. But this is something that really touched me. This is the state of women who don't have a support structure. And at the age of 57, 58, you're a liability and your family would think it's better to send you back home to die peacefully rather than take you through the whole process of cancer care.
When we think of the future, what do you think CAPID vision and how close are we in making cervical cancer a disease of the past?
So our mission at CAPID is a cervical cancer Mukt Bharat. We have said that in 2017 when we coined it, and it's not like this is a fantastic mission that's never going to be done. It is very doable. Maybe not in my lifetime, but if we set the momentum today, definitely in the next generation will not have to seek cervical cancer. It is doable. WHO has launched a strategy where 90% girls should be vaccinated, 70% of age-appropriate women should be screened, and 90% of screened positive women should have treatment. If we can bring this into the country at every level, at a district level, state level, national level, if we look at achieving these targets or even close to these targets, we will be able to eliminate. And our goal for the next as many years as we are here is to bring the country as close to this target as possible. Considering where we are, where less than 1% of girls have been vaccinated and barely 3% women have been screened, it's going to be a journey, I agree. But CAPID's goal is that we bring this as close to the target as possible. Whatever we need to do from district level to national level, we will work at bringing this about and create a cervical cancer Mukt Bharat, or at least put us on the path for a cervical cancer Mukt Bharat in the next few years.
Your important message to the community.
So India carries the largest burden of cervical cancer deaths, and I think every woman should know. You may not have heard of it, but trust me, that is a fact. And it does exist. You may not have seen it, you may think it is not there. All you have to do is take out 15 minutes and go and be screened if you are over the age of 35. It's a small effort that needs to be made. Have your daughters vaccinated, be screened regularly, and stay cancer free. That's one less worry in your life. Don't think that I don't want to know that, and if it's cancer, what's going to happen? No. Get screened so that you know that it's not. If it is, it can be treated. It's an OPD procedure. You will be completely cancer free. And that is what every woman needs to know, and she needs to get done for herself and for her family.
Well, I would really like to thank Mridu for his informative interview with us. We all know what cervical cancer is and what we need to do next.
Cervical Cancer Mukt Bharat, an initiative by Capit India.